Here's my guitar. It is a Warmoth Stratocaster. Put the new pickups in, put the new bridge, put the mega switch in. This is an ash body with a nice scratch that I just picked up this week. Don't know what it was. All I know is I heard my son go, uh-oh, and I heard his feet hitting the steps at an unusually high rate of speed. Next thing I know, there was a scratch there, and he is buried in a shallow grave in the backyard. Joking. Well, he's not in the backyard. But we have roasted maple neck, stainless steel frets, Tusk XL nut, hip shot staggered locking tuners. So I'm going to attempt to set this puppy up today. First thing I'm going to do is take a string height at the 17th fret where the body matches. That is quite low. I'm actually going to shoot for a super low action of 3/64. So I will spare you the pain of me adjusting saddles, but what I'm going to do is at the 17th fret, I'm going to make sure that at the 3/64 line, the bottom of the string will come to the bottom of the height adjustment mark. And there you go. Stuart McDonald. Free time. There you go. Well, I went through and I set up everything at the 17th fret at 3/64. There's no way I'm really going to get an angle on that. So you're going to have to take my word for it that it's at 3/64. I mean, it's playing nice and low. Next thing I'm going to do is get out a capo and put it on the first fret. So what I'm going to do is take a capo, put it directly on the first fret, so that way there's no question about whether or not you're dealing with the true curvature of the neck. So I have a feeler gauge here that I am going to spec out per Fender specs as far as being at 0.010 for the neck relief. And when I say neck relief, I mean how the neck is actually curved, because your string will vibrate, so it does need a little bit of curve. Some players like them a little more straight, some like a little more curve because I guess they hit it harder. Me personally, I go right by the Fender specs, which is the 0.10. What you do is you hold the fret down at the 17th fret, which is where it connects to the body at. And what you can do is right at the 7th or 8th fret, you want to actually put this in here to see if there is space. It's quite hard for me to do it at this angle because you're supposed to do it in playing position. So let me try to get a view of what that looks like. So what I'm going to do is just basically capo the first, hold it to 17th, and I'm going to take my gauge, which is the 010, right at the 8th fret. What I'm going to do is see if this goes in there, and it's actually, when I'm pushing it in, it's pushing the string up a bit. So I know that the neck is actually too straight. So what I'll have to do is stick a Allen wrench in there, turn it, remember as you're looking at it, to the left is counterclockwise, lefty loosen, righty tighten. I want to loosen the neck because that will relieve the stress on the neck and it will let the neck actually flex this way. So let me try that. So I have an Allen wrench in the hole, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it just a little bit because it's just a little tight. I'm going to relieve the stress on the neck just a little bit, just like so. And I struggle to get it out. So I will put this right back on there again, 17th fret again, and measure. And that is bang on. When I say bang on, I mean this is able to slip between the top of the fret of the 8th fret and between the 6th string. Doesn't move the string, doesn't do anything. So that way I know I have good relief. So I'm gonna tune this guy up again, and then on to the next problem. Onwards and upwards to the next problem. Since I put in the new bridge right there, the bridge is actually sitting flat, and I don't really want to have it flat. I want to kind of have it sitting up. So what I have to do is take the guitar and play with the springs. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually loosen those two nuts right there, or two bolts right there that are holding the springs into the body. So by loosening that, I will then have the bridge and it will rock up. And it's just a question of retuning and all that fun stuff to get it so it's actually not sitting flush against the body like that, which is what I don't want. So, stand by to stand by. I'll get this done. So what I did was I let the screws out in the back like 2 turns, just to make sure that, you know, it will actually move. So this is probably out of tune now. It's flat, so let's tighten this up and see if that bridge will actually move up. And in the meantime, I have to listen to my children play Christmas music very loudly, because I believe it's a clever trick by a 8 and 11-year-old to see how far they can push me before I totally snap. Can't wait till they're teenagers. Woohoo! And, I don't know if you can really tell, try to get a better angle, the bridge actually did move up a little bit. So I'm going to continue playing this game of loosening the screws, retuning, just to see if I can get that bridge to where I want it to be. I don't think I'm going to put it to Fender specs where they want the back end of it angled up by 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get it so I can pull up on it a little bit and that it will actually float. There we go. And yes, I have the bridge right where I want it. It is not totally against the back. It will pull up a little bit. So it is exactly where I want it to be. It's floating and it's very nice. I'll tell you this much. The Wilkinson bridge, it's really cool because when you look inside there, all of the takeoffs to where the strings are, they're all just, they're very nicely milled, so there's no sharp edges to catch a string. It's pretty nice. The only thing I have to do now, I guess, is intonation. And boy, that's a fun one. Some more exciting stuff here. It's intonation. Open string versus fretted string at 12th, because that is an octave. If this note, and I'm just kind of looking at my tuner right there, that's right on for an E. I don't know how I'm going to do this. That's close enough. But as you can see, it's actually starting to go sharp. I have it in half strobe mode. So because the actual note here is sharp, you have to take the saddle and adjust the saddle back away from the headstock. Yet again, another balancing game. It's push the saddle back, retune, check the 12th note versus the fretted note until you both come up with an E. Exciting stuff. I don't know if anybody really wants to do that. You might have actual paint to watch dry. Anyway, I'll get that done. So just to see what I'm kind of doing here, I have the E, fretted E at the 12th. See how it's moving sharp? So what I will do real quick is stick my little Allen wrench in, and I will give it a little turn, so you can see just a little turn how much difference it'll make. So if I play the open E again, now an F. And so let me stretch the string. There we go. I always like to tune up to a note. I don't like to tune down. There we go, E. Now let's see what it is on the 12th. Still slightly sharp. So I'm going to continue this fun stuff and continue to listen to my wife yell at my kids upstairs. Maybe she can beat out of the boy what he did to my guitar to scratch it up. But stand by to stand by. So after what seems like 90 days just doing just the E string, here's my open A. Right there, and here's my 12th fret A. Ah, you son of a gun, you. There we go. There we go. Now I got my E done. And the good thing is with the Wilkinson, you can actually tighten that screw right down, lock it down so that saddle does not move, and you don't lose an afternoon to setting up a guitar. And I'm going to do that. So essentially it's going to be the rest of my afternoon when I could be watching football, but the Eagles are kind of in the tank, so that's it. That's how I set up my guitar. Thank you. Good night.